The first day of the NBA playoffs was chalk. The second? Yeah, not so much. The number 1 seeded Milwaukee Bucks started the day by losing to the Orlando Magic, and the number 1 seeded Los Angeles Lakers ended the day by losing to the number 8 seeded Portland Trail Blazers. It is the first time since 2003 in which both number 1 seeds lost their openers, and in the Lakers' case, it came down to a lack of depth. LeBron James scored 23 points, pulled in 17 rebounds and dished out 15 assists while Anthony Davis poured in 28 points of his own, but the Lakers' role players shot 4 of 22 from three-point range. They simply can't score enough to win when that happens. Portland's role players weren't great either, but Damian Lillard's 34 points were enough to lead them to a victory. Now the Blazers will need to only win 3 games out of 6 to stun the Western Conference's number 1 seed. The Lakers will have to go back to the drawing board if they want to avoid such a humiliation. What happened tonight was completely and utterly unacceptable. 1. It's time to fix the rotation. The Lakers were outscored by 9 points in JaVale McGee's 13 minutes on the floor. They lost the game by 7 points. That isn't a coincidence. The Lakers were outscored during McGee's minutes in all 7 of his appearances in the bubble. In Orlando, they have now been outscored by 66 points in his 121 minutes on the floor. They've outscored opponents by 26 points in the minutes they've played without him. This isn't rocket science. The Lakers are starting every game down several points because they're starting the wrong lineup. They're exacerbating the problem by sending that same lineup out there at the start of the third quarter. The version of the starting lineup that included Avery Bradley outscored opponents by 12.6 points per 100 possessions during the regular season. The version with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was outscored by 1.2 points per 100 possessions. The McGee Caldwell-Pope James Davis Danny Green fivesome doesn't work. At a minimum, McGee needs to be excised from the rotation entirely. Whether that means playing Markieff Morris at center more or hoping Dwight Howard can avoid foul trouble is another matter, but there just isn't any evidence to suggest that JaVale can contribute to winning in the postseason. There's a reason he was a bench warmer for the Warriors. The Caldwell-Pope situation is more complicated. They need to play him, and his numbers, on balance, have been better as a starter. But tinkering with the combinations is critical. Alex Caruso deserves a look as the 5th starter. Kyle Kuzma's place in the first 5 should be obvious. This isn't March anymore. These games count. Frank Vogel can't afford to fritter them away by playing the wrong players. The Lakers are better than the Blazers. That much should be obvious. They just have to use the right lineups to prove it. 2. LeBron was great. But in the wrong ways. It's hard to argue with 23 points, 17 rebounds and 15 assists. Those numbers don't even tell the entire story. LeBron was great on defense as well. Nearly every decision he made, in a vacuum, was the right one. But the Lakers scored 93 points against a defense that has allowed an average of 123 points over its past 6 outings. Yes, shooting was the primary reason for that, and the Lakers will probably hit more than 5 of their 32 long balls in Game 2.